towards a higher resolution 3D scan. So yeah, just some visual results from the left field, the data set, and then you see the front upside using the interpolation on the right. Next to it, then you see the result coming out from a deep learning neural network. And comparing this to a drawn-through 3D scan, you see that that's quite closely preserved nicely some of the small details. Then you might wonder why, if I can actually acquire a 3D scan, why would I want option laser lower resolution 3D scan? But one of the most vital things is the frequency. Because it takes much more time if you see signals, and it's not something that is used in clinical routine. Now, the interesting part probably you wouldn't use for diagnosis because it kind of hallucinates when you draw sample image, and you might introduce something that wasn't there. So you don't use it for diagnosis, but you can use it for its further analysis. For example, we found that it can use it for reading sequences, sometimes like the definition of a cardiac, and it's nicer than doing it on the interpolated in the sense very close to the one that you look at on the full 3D high resolution. So this is one of those right basically between the discrepancy and radical from the design data image, and the real one is from our upsamples as 3D images. So this is not exactly like with successful insights or the limitations you might be doing, it's not exactly that because we can write papers about it, but while doing this we also realize that there are quite some challenges, and today there was already a lot of talk about different types of challenges, so I want to discuss two challenges that we saw in particular with the negative imaging. So the first one is the blind device features, which actually when it goes wrong, and the other one is communicate beyond seeing level performance. So blind device features might sound weird in the context because you hope that your artificial neural network will just do the right thing by reading the data. You don't have to worry about handcrafting designing features, you just leverage the right features from the data. So the problem is with a simple example, I want to show you that might always work. So very often in the negative imaging, you might get a same data set from a site or a hospital, and they might look at this and get examples, they label what is the movement cell, what is taking on cell, what structure, and what is the features of the screen. If you look at that same data set to a neural network, what it will learn is that the movement objects have this origin in the sequence, and the findings are probably good. However, usually what's happening is that when you get new data from another site, you might have data like this, where you suddenly see that your learning network or your trained network is completely failing on the set. Simply because it learned the wrong features. And there's nothing that will stop the neural network to go for color, because of the most obvious discriminator feature in the first place in your trained data. I might say that the problem is the trained data, and yes, that's why that is the problem with the trained data, but the negative imaging is simply not possible if you already have a data set that is representative of every possible source of data. The market use cannot come up that didn't exist when you had this product. So constantly again, works on extending this convolutional neural network by using something that is just a little bit, which is necessary next. So what is to do when you pronounce the adaptation of this program was right update. And the idea really is that you understand that neural network, so let's say you want to break your segmentation in the network, the image segmentation of a convolutional neural network without this. Now at the same time, what you try to do is to have another network that looks at the learned representations, and what you try to do is to try to figure out where the data is coming from. Now if you train such a network on data, on native data that's coming from the state A, and you have another data set that doesn't have been labeled with stuff from site B, then the first network, the second data network, will try to learn features which are independent where the data is coming from. And this allows you to mitigate exactly that problem. It will learn from previous example, the color is the discriminative feature, it will learn that it's actually the shape that will discriminate two structures, because that's what is going to learn to where the data is coming from. So this is really well, so we tested this again on brain lesions when we had MRI brain data coming from different sites, so basically two different MRI scanners. And one of them they acquired a double set of MRI sequences, and the other one they almost acquired the same, but there was a slight difference. We also changed the new sequence in the MR acquisition, which actually made our previous network that was trained on data from the one scanner completely fail on the second scanner. However, after you did the data adaptation using the desired network went up to the performance that it was on the first site, even on the other data from the new scanner, without using any adaptation, so just training the network to discriminate or to not discriminate where the data is coming from. It doesn't affect the performance and learn the right features. So the second challenge is about detecting when it goes wrong. So very often when you build these neural networks, the problem is you have this development cycle. You build a neural network, you do validation testing, you look at your learning curves, you do modifications on the network, and you live in this cycle. So these are academia. You often live in this cycle, and then every end is racing to publish paper. Now the problem is that sometimes you want to use those systems in clinical practice. So if you go to the deployment and you use now a trained neural network on data that is applied in the hospital, what you might find is that it doesn't work so well. The problem is how do you know that it doesn't work well? You could look at the images, and you could try to do some sort of manual quality control, you could annotate data, but that's not feasible in everything. You can't always look at the large state data, and then you can't look at everything in place and check whether the network works well enough. So what we're trying to do here is basically we try to figure out to automatically recognize when something goes wrong, but not on average, but on a per subject basis. So we came up with this framework, reverse classification accuracy, which is was based on previous work on reverse testing and reverse validation. But really the idea is to use this within medical imaging, set up where we say there's only some data from data, for which we know what the true data are, at least the ones that we believe are the best possible we can get. So they will use the trained networks, the learned system, with a machine learning method and convolution in network something that you can deploy in practice. Now on your new data, you get a prediction. And the question is, how does this prediction help? How do you want to know? Did it fail or did it go into? You can use the prediction and train what we call a reverse classifier. So that is a classifier that is completely relative to that one example. But you can use it to make predictions again, because it was trained on so-called solo outputs, something on a prediction. So now if you go back to your trained data, you can actually how well does the reverse classifier work on your trained data. So of course it might not work well at all, and it might not work on all of them, but it might actually work on some of them, and it might work on the ones that are very close to the testing data. And now on this one, you can actually, of course, quantify, you can get a number, the quality or an metric, the failure whole way, predicting at the same data, but using the prediction of the test data. And we show that this is actually well correlated with the true performance that you would get on your check data. So we still tested this on my segmentation for BMI, but in the meantime also on cardiac imaging. Just to show you a plot, this is on the x-axis the median type, this is one segmentation quality metric that measures overlap between the predicted segmentation and the drawn-through manual segmentation. And you see that the predicted quality mean get automatically correlates very well with the reach. So if you use this, for instance, to automatically detect like any threshold, for instance, the predicted score, if the system has failed. So now the last question I want to discuss is co-payment beyond human level performance. Now, we already feel that there's a lot of talk about using human level performance. But the question is how many people are using the data imaging? Obviously, it's how many the data that is already going to come through.
such as colliding with other passengers or falling onto the bikini barriers.
And also training the system to recognize this. Just like taking the course, changing any reach to the point of the next expert. But ideally, at some point, we'll use this new kind of things. So the idea of this, well, I think one direction also there is to work in this really think what's understanding growth. As long as we're not an expert and they are fine and they can take us, we'll generate data which we know the growth. And this is the other senses. If I think about done, which is one way of synthesizing data, we'll see maybe on some works on that. So the idea would be what if we could form a name and data set and have a network that would produce after the course of the industry, then giving a set input output thing for you to control. So this is what we call it. So I think that's true this last week or the week before we on the web, where you can form online tech and we'll put it into tech. So this one has to happen. So actually, that's what I think I'd like to have when I take it. So that's also on the left, that was dedicated on the right, on my head, I was going to like it. So I thought it was a few of those stuff, and they actually quite entertaining. This was like the idea, how much I like the idea, if you ever done it. I get ahead, we'll see more idea, and always got a sense of try it, and what's the way I'm getting it. So I think that's a little bit more, but I will just this is where we are, and that's what I'm deep learning for a while, so they're still not my slides. But I think they're coming. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you today about the large-scale deep learning system that we've built at Google that Andrew told you a little bit about. So first I want to make a distinction that a lot of you are already aware of about the relationship between artificial intelligence and machine learning. And artificial intelligence is about making things, machines that are more able to be clever and do the kinds of things that you want as people. But machine learning is really about making machines that learn. And our sort of thesis is that in a community, my thesis, my community that doing machines that learn to become clever is actually easier and more tractable than making machines that are clever to learn. So I just want to make that high-level point. And I want you've heard these things mentioned, but I just want to make it clear that these are sort of the three main flavors of machine learning that are around right now. There's supervised learning, which is learning by example, which Andrew told you about, like an email spam detector where you give it examples of this is spam, this is not spam. There's also unsupervised learning where you're learning from data that doesn't have labels, and there's what's called reinforcement learning where you're just learning from whether you got something right or whether you got something wrong. So it's like learning to play chess just by finding out whether you won or lost. Whereas supervised learning would be like a chess grandmaster standing next to you saying this is a strong move, that's a strong move. And it's interesting, right now supervised learning is the thing that's making its way into real products and is the most useful for us in industrial applications. But these other two areas are active areas of development, and deep learning is actually compatible with all three. So just to go into this supervised learning case a little bit more deeply, we have some example inputs. We're trying to build a machine system to give us some desired output, and of course, Google our favorite one is to give us a cat, you say, okay, does a cat. Luckily, the subject is the origin of the thing.
が言うのが追いかけられてから今リンクする追いかけすみませんあの件実は落ちましてって言ったらはあなんだよ落ちたのかよ
渋谷駅あ、新橋駅新橋は行かないこれ暑い
visual recognition systems. We'll hear more about that too. But here are just some of the areas that Google is already published in. So we have object recognition, we have object categories, discovery and video, speech recognition, annotating images with text, so automatically captioning an image, OCR, so reading text from images, but also things that aren't related to vision or machine perception, but things like natural language understanding and machine translation. And Fox is up next to talk to you more about these text-based applications in addition to some of the other stuff that he's done. So why do you suggest not to try deep learning? If I have a unrestricted amount of transaction data or log data, I should just be able to deep learning has a ton of data. Deep learning actually gets some stuff. Any comments on that? Sure. So I definitely think that deep learning is very, very useful in kind of structured data, report data applications like you're talking about, text, transactions, that kind of thing. But I think that the difference in the quality of the service that you can provide with and without deep learning is much greater. So in machine perception, deep learning is so much better than the second best technology that it's kind of hard to argue with. But in let's say, looking for anomalies in transactions, there are statistical approaches, they're very solid. Regularized logistic regression is a very solid method. And I think that deep learning can be done better in those areas. You have to look at, well, if I'm going to invest in starting a bigger team in this area, how big is the going to be? And for machine perception, it's huge compared to the second best. And in these other things, I think the gap is smaller, but I think deep learning is still great. So just a quick question on the fact that you talked about deep learning also applies on discovery factors. Can you elaborate a little bit on that, what sort of application or what has deep learning done that area? Yeah, so there's been a good bit of work on using machine learning in unsupervised subjectives, like there's a lot of papers on autoencoders, if you want to go look at that stuff, cat paper with largely an unsupervised approach. I think that there's still a lot of interesting research going on in this area because I think there's so much of the data that's out there in the world doesn't have clean labels, and you need to find some way of leveraging those data. But it's still mostly research. My personal experience is that I think that if you're building a technology company today, you should probably expect to use the supervised stuff. And yeah, you're right. Most of the people who are getting into deep learning and deep pockets, what are they trying out on? Are they using Google Cloud, Amazon Cloud, or is there any other thing that's more popular? Okay, so if you don't have deep pockets, so for example, if your pockets are empty, or nearly empty, you probably have a computer, even if you have a deep pocket, and that computer has a CPU in it, and you can upgrade that CPU at a pretty nominal cost. And there are open libraries out there, like you can use Caffe, and you can use Torch, and you can use Theano to try to experiment and explore these ideas without building a huge infrastructure team, without really much investment. Now, I do think that there's, for that ecosystem slide to end, that I do wonder if in the future there will be an opportunity for this to be provided as more of a service, where you're doing it on cloud right now, you do it on Google Cloud or on Amazon, you're mostly rolling your own. I think that that can be a little bit more smoother, but I don't know of any service out there that makes that really easy right now. But I actually think you can do a lot of experimentation on very little money, and you shouldn't spend a huge amount of money building a supercomputer cheaply. Yeah. Oh, no, not laptop. Definitely desktop with some, so if I could underline it, it's definitely desktop. And really CPUs and people can program them well. Tim back there? Do you have any strategies for composing different results of composing different feature learning? Oh yeah, so the difference is composing different results learned by different things. So if you want to read more about this technique, the general area is often called the model ensemble like Rubin, the musical instrument, where you might train models in a different way and allow them to collaborate to make a more intelligent decision together. And there's a whole literature on it. Ensembling is great. Almost all of the competitions that you look at, almost all of the times use ensembling in some way. I think we have a ton of different questions. I have so many as well. If anyone has a real pressure, okay, last one right in the back there. Just hold on a sec for a mic. So you mentioned ensembling as a way to compose different models. So that works great for doing competitions, but is that a commercially viable approach? That's a great question. So ensembling for commercially viable is commercially viable. And the one thing is that it creates technical debt. So if you have to run many models, it means your serving costs go up, it means software complexity goes up, you're needing more engineers, you need smarter engineers. So that ends up being a trade-off about, okay, how big of a quality win, how much more complicated does it make my system? And sometimes that's a good trade, sometimes it's a bad trade. Okay, I'll get off the stage now. QuantNet, and then a little bit later you'll also hear from Ian Sarney. Where you don't have a translation on the right side. So the best thing you do is take Chinese, just reply. For example, about the statistical model, it's such a to train the model with respect to its input. And we can simply follow that gradient uphill for a small amount at each input pixel. Using the sign that in the gradient itself allows us to make the most catastrophic change at each pixel separately. So here we see on the left we have an input image, which is a panda. Both we as people and the neural net agree that this image is a panda. If we follow the gradient of the neural network loss function, we obtain this image in which it's just kind of like colorful television set. It doesn't look like anything meaningful to a person. Which turns out to be exactly the direction that makes the neural network less confident that the panda has the maximum possible range. If we add a very small amount of image, so small that it doesn't actually change the encoding of the image when it fits, we can produce a new image that even can't tell the difference from the original one. But the neural network believes that 99% confidence the new image is a given. This same procedure works about 98% of the time. Regardless of what input image we put in, we can usually get something when we make the neural network confidently output the wrong class. And on data sets that are large and high-dimensional like image sets, the changes are often so small that human beings can't even see them. So this suggests that the neural networks don't actually understand what they're doing. And it turns out most other statistical models that we've studied don't either. This is not a problem with pretty good C-brain. People originally thought that this issue resulted from overfitting and highly complicated functions. So it's been known for a little bit every year, or it's been published a little bit every year, that these episodes examples of this. And most explanations say that if you have some kind of training set, like this example with 3 X's and 4 O's, that you could infer this very complicated and random structure that explains all this. The blue patches represent where the network thinks that there should be X's, and the green patches represent where the network thinks that there should be O's. You can see there's a little red X and a little red O, representing where this kind of random, unjustified, highly complicated function decides to put X's and O's erroneously. However, it's also possible to get other examples from underfitting. Here we have the same training data set, and we separated X and O's the layer by one. You can see there's a red O and a red X that are misclassified by this decision function. I here would say that the O on the left is very close to the training set. It's classified as O, but this linear dividing line classifies it. People have somewhat misleading intuitions about the way that low-capacity models behave, and this led people to think that only high-capacity models can have adversarial examples. In fact, in the case of linear models, it's actually quite easy to get adversarial examples, because linear models become extremely confident when extrapolating across parts of the data. In this example training set on the top, the blue X represents, and the red line represents the linear increase in confidence as you move from left to right. Where it's negative, it's telling you that there are X's, where it's very positive, it's telling you that there are O's. In order for us to be confident where the training set X's are, and where the training set O's are, it has become even more confident in the margins of the slide. So if it believes that there are X's toward the middle of the slide, it must believe even more strongly that there are X's far off toward the left of the slide, where it's not actually seeing data. Other kinds of systems for RDS classifiers actually do behave in the way that people expect low-capacity models behave. In the lower part of the slide, you can see that the RDS model takes the small probability map. Another small probability. On the nose. I mean, the problem with it is not very confident. It turns out that most classifiers like logistic regression and soft-stack regression are almost into our formula for creating adversarial examples. But RDS classifiers are, by comparison, quite robust to this formula. So, if RDS classifiers are so much more robust to adversarial examples, why do all modern neural networks work so linear? You can see that specified linear units are piecewise linear. Maxed out units are piecewise linear. Similar to that, when they've been tuned to operate mostly in a linear regime, as we need to do to successfully train them, also behave very much like piecewise linear models. And LSTM involves summation over time, which is the simplest kind of linear operation that we perform from one time to the next. So when we think that linear models are very vulnerable to adversarial division, it also seems to be the basis of all of modern deep learning. And in fact, when you look at the way that deep learning models change their prediction throughout space, we can see that they behave in a very piecewise linear fashion where they extrapolate overconfidently as you move farther and farther away from the data. What's going on in this plot is that we show how the network responds to different perturbations of the input. In the image on the right, we show sequence of images formed by adding first just one negative perturbation, and then gradually as you move left to right, top to bottom, left to left perturbation until we reach a data point, which is this image of the 4. And then we add more perturbation as we continue to move left to right, top to bottom, and we get the negative of the original image at the upper left. So as we smooth out this trajectory input space, in the plot on the left, we show the way that the arguments of the softmax classifier at the top of the deep model change throughout this trajectory. You can see that the left and right ends of the trajectory where we're talking about data. The arguments of the softmax are very extreme, and so the softmax is confidently predicting one specific class, even though the input did not resemble any of the numbers that the network is trained to recognize. So we're at the very center, right close to the data, the network is actually making a reasonable prediction, which is that it's a 4 with very high confidence, but not a kind of extreme confidence, we have the margins. So this shows that the network is going to take the correct behavior on the task, but only close to the data, only where our instruction work of learning the training set probability distribution is applicable. When we ask it to figure out what to do in the of instructions, the person can make very strong and high confidence incorrect predictions. To get an intuition for how this works, let's look at a logistic regression model. On the left, I show the weights of the logistic regression model for stars 3 from 7. These weights are relatively bright, when a pixel being bright, it's more likely to be a 7 than a 3. And when stars are more likely to be a 3 than a 7. This is something that's roughly similar to the correlation between each pixel in the class. If we then take the spine of those weights, we understand how to change each pixel to confuse the classifier. And then on the right, I show code samples and adversarial samples produced just by adding or subtracting a small amount of this spine weight image. As human beings, we can still see the original 3s and the 7s in the adversarial examples. But a logistic regression model doesn't have any kind of attention mechanism to separate the background from the foreground. And because of the linear model, all we can do is add up small pieces of information across the image. Even though each pixel only votes very weakly for whichever class we choose as more than output, when it has to add up nearly 800 different pixels of evidence that we have modified to all point in one direction, it will become highly confident that the answer is whatever we chose it to be, based on whether we subtracted or added this by the weight image. So why do we use these linear models if they're so easy to confuse? The reason is that we have to because we don't really know how to train anything else. We train most of our models using gradient-based methods, whether they're literally stochastic gradient descent or more complicated gradient-based methods like Hessian pre-optimization that limit use of the gradient. We compute these gradients using back propagation, and if you trace the back propagation path from the output label at the top of the model back down to the red input pixel, you can see a kind of a green path where the gradient must be large if we want to train the weight needing from this input pixel to what it is display about it. If we want to train that weight, we need that gradient to be large. So if that weight is non-zero and that gradient is large, then the gradient with respect to the input pixel must also be large. So models that are easy to train are also intrinsically easy to confuse by slightly modifying their input. This suggests we might need to come up with more complicated training methods that are not exclusively based on a gradient to figure out how to make large groups on models that have very flat response curves if we want to overcome some of the adversarial examples. One thing that's interesting about these models is that they're capable of representing gauge functions with arbitrary degree of accuracy. That means that even if the optimizer has trouble finding it, they are guaranteed to at least be able to represent a function that represents an adversarial example. And this is one way that these networks have a crucial advantage over shallow models like linear networks. If we train these networks on a mixture of adversarial and clue examples, they these adversarial examples, on these examples which are adversarial examples. This is a little bit unusual because the adversarial examples never appear in the test data set. But by including the adversarial examples, we force the model to discover concepts that are closer to the true concept to explain how to classify the data. In the future, there's a lot of ways to figure out how to encourage true understanding. Adversarial examples, pure adversarial examples is essentially just extending the instruction book to provide for a model. They're not learning how to figure out the underlying pattern in the instruction book and process any new example correctly. Several people think that generative models have the potential to confer resistant to adversarial examples. I've written tests on some existing generative models, and they actually are not resistant to these adversarial examples, but it's possible that other kinds of generative models could be. Finally, I also think it's promising to train agents that can interact with the environment, and when they learn to understand the dynamics of this environment, they might learn to structure the true test. If you look into the technical details of the work, actual quantitative experiments, and some more details about how you predict exactly how adversarial examples will be formed, how to be labeled, so I encourage you to look at these two publications from my team over the last year. That's your question. Okay. So you look at adversarial examples, but it's not comparison with other data observation to see how compared with like groups of data observation. Oh, I like which one has the most marginal benefit? Yeah, I haven't had to compare which one has the most marginal benefit. Second was I started with the data or the specific test. And so the adversarial data aggregation is in addition to other things like you want to augment the data by having different subsets of different and things like that. And so my other experiments also provided in addition to like shift to the image and flip to the image like at least for training resolution on it. But I haven't had any question which one is the most beneficial one in test. Okay, no, regarding regression, typically one of the things that you use OBS being somewhat resistant. And then you want to, so in the case we use some kind of compression normalization, where you're putting your layers on the surface of the data, and you also have some kind of weight normalization and a bias offset in order to having these functions on the surface of the hydrosphere. I just want to kind of look at that as well, or if you look at that, or if you have any questions, so that will help. Yeah, so in this talk I try to focus very much on linear generation of adversarial examples and the way that they affect the unit. It turns out that if you impose any kind of manifold, you can basically do derivative along that manifold, directions on that manifold or manifold. You can also form adversarial examples by rotating the input or rotating different layers in certain directions. And so in that case, normalization can prevent you from moving in a direction that is direct linear path that you would anticipate would move. So you just see the differentiation along the normalized manifold and rotate in that direction. And that will reliably compute the network as well. Yeah, I tried to provide anything like that to see if they could convert resistance, but I haven't succeeded yet. Actually, even when coupled with adversarial training, they don't seem to make a whole lot of improvement. Yeah, essentially. It's important to update the set of adversarial examples on each mini batch rather than use the same one repeatedly every time, because the set of adversarial examples is a function of the network's weight. provide for necessary weapons. I was wondering a little bit in a short term, horizon, include the use of these technologies in advertising. I think it could potentially, like now we think sometimes that was really creepy, but when those machine learning systems use advertising becomes more powerful and controlling us, and our desires becomes a little bit of like if they were manipulating us, and under some threshold will probably okay. But I think at some point people will start thinking this is not okay. Think about how this could be used to manipulate people with advertising. So there's a little bit of advertising, and I don't like it. Most people think, oh well, I'm not changing my mind, but actually the rest of people and with billions of dollars, that when this technology becomes smarter and becomes there's something that people think about it. One guy we focus on is supervised learning. As you have heard, right now we're training these systems, and we can have computer of issues if you have this you should do this, you should do that. And we need to have such solutions. Students are able to learn without having to think about end of the time. For example, if you were with the cities of the world, surveying and interacting with the world, parents not part of forcing those massive acceleration here. So we have that ability, and it's really important for our intelligence very well, probably if school also doesn't there's a lot of data out there that doesn't come with a human interpretation. If it's this is that, and this document is what the person said, it's sitting in this room, and it's a very task to try to label everything for the computer to know how to interpret examples. This is how we do it now, and so we need to make studying more honest. So this is what learning is about. It should be coming out of there. And there are a lot of systems, there's a lot of code. I encourage people to go into each language and leave the data and this is how some maturity of lectures. Specifically, I'm still doing online in chapters. So there's enough to get started for many people that use the time to do it. close the same area of the vector space. What's even more amazing is that, unlike IBM that used, I think, more traditional machine learning techniques and have a very large team and a very long cycle, just one graph student with collaborators at the university was able to essentially also teach human trivia competition with a single neural network architecture. This works especially well in the larger known in some cases model teaching. In fact, this is kind of unextendable in the sense that we didn't actually use the model multiple TF-50 article and we gave it some training focus, but we didn't let it read all the books of the plot of all these different books that people have written. But for training, again, the model can already outperform, and I think a lot of times when you look into industry and like see what kind of questions people ask about systems or customer relationship management and customer service, you're probably less or even more looking for those aspects. Alright, so I mentioned that we don't just want to understand learning by itself, so we also want to have systems that understand. So in the beginning, we actually have systems that combine both of these worlds and to understand how they're related. So here we have a paper from 3 years ago that I published at Stanford, and we now also improved the research at Medline, where we essentially map sentences and images into the same vector space, and now we can look up one from the other. And instead of just showing that to you in theory, let me show you a live demo of this. So here we have the word bird, and as I type in bird, basically it looks at just the pixels of the images. You can see going on both the image and the text side. And just from the pixels, it's now showing me images that are close to the vector for representation of bird. So again, this is not just like Loomis source that looks at the text around the image, but it just looks at the pixels and the word. So I type in bird, and once I change bird to bird, it doesn't just show me pictures of a single bird now, but it actually focuses on images where you show multiple birds. So I actually have some understanding of plurality. So now I can say birds on water, and it actually will show me mostly pictures of birds on water, and not just some random kinds of birds. So I have some idea of how you compose these words into the meaning, into the visual meaning. You can also say birds and trees, for instance, and try to find the few images in the data set of birds and trees. And you can say horse, you can even say horse with a bald man, and it will actually find that one image in the set that includes the picture of a horse with a bald man next to it. So we basically have been able, even more abstract things like people having fun, are things that you can try to retrieve now, not just from having had annotated, but if you just find on your desktop, or something that's trying to annotate all the images, it will still find pictures with sort of more abstract concepts. Alright, we don't, it's kind of hard to really analyze how well the system works since the sentences are quite subjective. So what we do instead is we can look at what standard, benchmarks do on ImageNet. I'm sure most of you are familiar with ImageNet, the sort of key de facto standard for evaluating the performance of image classification systems. And here we have an example of what the system will do, our system will do when you give it different kinds of images. So this supports 1,000 classes, and to the best of our knowledge, there's now only, we're now at the level that Google had, their system when they won the competition last year, so we're 93.3 plus 5% accuracy, and building our entirely own system that is also a lot faster and doesn't require as much computation and to actually be deployed in practice. And I think now, though, we're not the state-of-the-art system 2 weeks ago, so Baidu came out with a paper using a very large CPU cluster to get to, I think, around 94. So we're now second in the world, but unlike these large companies, we'll actually let you use the technology and play around with it. In case, you want to have your more working in a specific domain, you might want to use instead a specific classifier. So maybe you're in the food business and you want to have a food classifier. Well, we can very easily just throw our general system onto a specific data set like food, and then basically classify different food items, and create a very large data set where we can classify all these different food items. But sometimes you might say, well, I don't want to go through this loop with you and with an expert. I actually just want to be able to train it myself. And when I said deep learning for everybody, I feel like that is only true once anybody who knows how to drag and drop and use a web browser can use it. And that's essentially what was accomplished once we launched the company last month, which is an interface that is extremely easy to use and lets you basically create your own classifier. So what you see here is our interface. So let's say, for instance, my classifier didn't really support various types of cookies. It only had the general cookie classifier, but I want to distinguish between chocolate chip cookies and regular oatmeal cookies. So I just give it a name. I can make the data set and or classifier private, so I don't have to share it with everybody. And now I can just go and look at just a couple images here. Maybe 5 chocolate chip cookies. I take them, I drag and drop them into the browser. I say these are chocolate chip. They're getting uploaded. Then I take a couple of oatmeal cookies. I mark those. Drag and drop them into the browser. Name this rating category, and now I just press upload and train, and basically a couple of seconds later, I now have my own deep learning classifier. So literally in the last 5 seconds, we just trained our own deep learning image classifier, and you can now use code for learning that, or you can again just take some images and drag and drop them into the browser, and then have it classified. And the first time you do that, you might load the classifier into RAM, and then just after, if you want it, to use it for a while, it will basically be load it to RAM, and then just a few seconds classification time. So here we see basically chocolate chip was correctly classified, and we can look at original cookie. And drag and drop that in here too. So of course, when you actually have very large data sets, you might not want to drag and drop all of those into the browser. And so what we also will support and actually launch, here we go, reason next week we'll actually launch an API that will then allow you to automatically upload thousands of images into our system and train a classifier that way. Here's a very simple line of code that you basically just say, you said API key. If I have some classification problem, here's my classification data. It's a type of this, in fact, the same. But if you prefer text, you can also just drag and drop text files into the browser and classify that way. Now you can add samples in a variety of ways. Or you can just send in a couple of URLs that are online. You say what kind of model you have, classification model, and you just and then predict, and that's all there is to do. So basically, in 5 minutes, anybody here could train their own classifier. All you need to do is install MetaMind, and then you run the script I just showed you. You have to log in, of course, to the website before, so it knows your key. And now, basically, just after a few seconds, you can classify and have the trained production-ready system that will classify anything you want and you really care about. And what I find exciting is that this has already launched last month, and I have to make sure it's logged out, and I'll show you all the private classifiers. So just log out really quick. And now, what's exciting to me is to see what people are actually doing with this classifier, all the interesting use cases that come out, and what really happens when you give deep learning technology into the hands of literally everybody, not people who can program. So we have have here some pattern classifications of data sheet versus fingerprint in a pattern. We have Pinecone samples. We have malaria blood samples versus non-malaria blood samples that people classified. This did pretty well. Of course, you can't get exact 100% accuracy for all the different problems. We have people with saying passing classifiers for different types of sorts, and there's no data set that I would know of that would have 5 or 6 different types of sorts in it. You can now take this system and basically go through all Instagram or Twitter images and try to find specific brands. And if you are familiar with Confuse Matrix, you basically want the diagonal here to be very large. And despite only having had 2,000 images for 38 different classes or so, the Confuse Matrix is still quite working very well, or shows very good performance. All right. With that, I want to conclude. Basically, to minimize our business, first to save the art in AI, we can keep learning the ways to do that, and then also make it broadly accessible. Thanks a lot. Which the much higher money discuss your model for 5 robots, please. train test. So in this case, let's say we train model A on the part of training data of T1 is actually 0% error defect. So on the piece of data, and the model on the T2 piece of data is actually 0% error. You can see that, of course, if we evaluate model A on the T2 piece of data, which it was not trained on, it actually doesn't have accuracy, doesn't have accuracy to support, or on the or model is trained on the tested on the T1 part of data actually also has accuracy. But here we have done the same thing as on the previous slide. We generated negative examples for the model A, which gives 100% error. On the model A, we generated negative examples for model B, which gives 100% of error. And actually, exchange between model A and G, they actually contain some strange pattern which is not recognized for us, but actually harms the model performance. We have several explanations for it. There are also some follow-ups on it. So one of the consequences of, let's say, of algorithm in the highly dimensional state and making matrix multiplication over there is that if you have, for instance, 1,000 dimensions, if you move within every dimension by epsilon, actually after multiplication, you move essentially like how the epsilon. Every dimension is sort of it all has a very small change, and if you consider all of them together, they might come up to the huge change. Also another way of that, and that's essentially what I was explaining as a consequence. What the reason of our issues. Another partial explanation is that maybe our linear operators, they might be sort of unstable in the sense that maybe single eigenvalues dominate them and actually make them unstable. So I mean, there's like many questions coming out of this in terms of how to potentially improve our models, or maybe it's harmful for our models if someone would, let's say, trigger like a manually wrapped images that would follow all the fulfill all the models and so on. What are the like far-reaching consequences of it? And also the question is, what should we do to really understand what the underlying computation? And I would say I don't know. Essentially, and in terms of conclusions, it's surprising that single learning algorithm actually gives rise to very similar statistical properties of different models, even though they might have a different architecture, they might rely on the different training sets, and they eventually they do to some extent similar computation, as you can see, they in the same way on the negative examples. And the question is how we can, let's say, learn from it and make our models better. Thank you. Okay? And we can maximize this blue curve sort of very cheaply, and it's still a non-convective optimization, but something that's cheap. So we can choose the maximum of this sort of quality metric of the next evaluation, and then go off and run that, train that thinking network with those parameters. And then we get that optimization, we perform a Bayesian posterior update of this non-convective model, and then we reevaluate this acquisition function and iterate this. Okay? So the idea is we're gathering some information, trying to integrate out all possible